Hello everyone, welcome back to the continuation of pediatric dentistry question papers. We are into the fourth part and today we have preventive periodontics. It is basically pit and fissure sealants and fluorides. So fluorides is a very big chapter, but it's very easy because you already studied in your part 1, that is under the subject public health dentistry, where you have studied in detail about fluorides, the history of fluorides, systemic fluorides, topical fluorides, the mechanism of caries prevention, the defluoridation techniques, and the fluoride toxicity. So the same is repeating in periodontics, because periodontics, it's a compilation of all other subjects like orthodontics, oral surgery, and preventive side, on the diagnostic part. So we have the first question, that is systemic fluoride delivery in prevention of dental caries, and discuss the professionally applied fluoride techniques. Basically, fluorides can be applied in two ways. One is systemic approach and another one is topical approach. And it can be self-applied and professional applied. Self-applied means the person can use by himself or herself without any much expertise, just like the toothbrush and using the fluoride toothpaste, the fluoride mouth rinse. Whereas professionally applied, where the expertise is required, just like topical fluoridation techniques, sodium fluoride, stannous fluoride, or APF gel. So anyway, we'll start with systemic fluoridation. We have water fluoridation, that is community water fluoridation, and it can be school water fluoridation. Community water fluoridation, the parts per million is just 1 ppm because we are supplying it 24/7. Whereas school water fluoridation, milk fluoridation, and salt fluoridation, it all needs more ppm, that is 4 to 5 ppm compared to the community water fluoridation, that is 1 ppm, because the students consume less amount of water from schools, or the children consume less amount of milk and salt. So in order to get the protective effect of fluoride, that is 1 ppm in net, we need to provide 4 to 5 ppm with respect to milk, salt, and school water fluoridation, where we are not getting a 24/7 fluoride delivery. Whereas community water fluoridation, we are getting 24/7. So we need just 1 ppm to get the maximum caries protection, because 1 ppm is the optimal level where we get maximum caries protection. Above that we get fluorosis, below that we won't get the protection against caries. And it can also be applied to fluoride drops, that the theory can be applied, caries prevention, fluoride tablets, and fluoride lozenges. Now let's see, I'm not going in detail about the milk, salt, drops, tablets, and fluoride lozenges. We have already studied the same in public health dentistry in detail. What are the basic requirements for water fluoridation, then milk, salt. Now let's see the professionally applied fluorides, that is sodium fluoride, stannous fluoride, and APF. Sodium fluoride is commonly known as Knudsen's technique. We are applying into 4 applications, 1 week interval, that is in the particular age group 3, 7, 11, and 13, because they are corresponding with eruption of new teeth, new permanent teeth and deciduous teeth, molars and central incisor. So we need to apply all these fluorides in recently erupted teeth, because the recently erupted tooth is not completely mineralized. So the complete mineralization will be done after 2 to 3 years of eruption, because they need to capture the elements and ions from the saliva and receive. So it takes 2 to 3 years. So we need to protect the teeth during the post-eruptive 2 to 3 years. So that time we need to apply fluoride. So sodium fluoride is 16 application will be there, because in each age we are going to apply 4 applications at 1 week interval. That is 2% of sodium fluoride. It is neutral in pH 9200 ppm, because we are providing it topically, so we need to have a very high ppm, because the systemic fluoridation can be applied in many ways, but it is the patient or the child is consuming it. But here we are applying it topically, where the tooth has been maturated. Where the systemic fluoridation, we are utilizing the potential of mineralization. It directly enters to the crystal. But in topical, it is creating the top layer demineralization, and thereby a byproduct calcium fluoride is formed. Thereby it supplies the fluoride. So the mechanism is different in systemic and topical. Next we have stannous fluoride. It is another material is using. Stannous fluoride was proposed by Moeller, so it is known as Moeller solution. It is 8% of stannous fluoride, and it is applied twice here. APF is different one. It is known as Woodward solution, that is 1.23% of APF, and most of the products we apply is 4 minutes, until 4 minutes. So we are applying it for 4 minutes, so it reaches the saturation point. So beyond 4 minutes there is no point of applying it, because it becomes very saturated. After that it won't enter into the enamel. So that is the third product as APF. Next we have a short essay regarding dental fluorosis and defluoridation technique. So dental fluorosis, we need to write about Dean's fluorosis index and its 6 category. We know it is normal, very mild, moderate, severe, questionable. So that category and its appearance we need to write. After that, defluoridation techniques. We have many techniques. One is adsorption, then ion exchange technique, precipitation, and electrochemical and reverse osmosis. Adsorption is by using activated, that is, it gets adsorbed to the surface. Adsorption and absorption is different. Adsorption on the surface, okay, absorption within. So adsorption can be done using bone char, brick piece column, mud pot, natural adsorbent, activated alumina. Ion exchange, we can use anion and cation exchange, like carbon 1, carbon 2. Defluoridation by precipitation, that is the most common one, using alum and lime, that it gets precipitated, combines with the fluoride, and fluoride will be precipitated due to the chemical action. Then we have reverse osmosis by electrolysis, and Nalgonda technique, which is the most popular one. Nalgonda is actually a place in the Andhra state, that is exactly, it is place in the Telangana, where this technique, mixing of alum and lime by the locals, they have invented this technique. After that it is commercialized by NEERI, that is National Environmental Engineering Research Institute in Nagpur. Nalgonda technique, it was invented by the people of Nalgonda, which is in Telangana state, not in Nagpur. So people get confused. I mean, the students get confused when asking Viva. They directly jump and say Nalgonda is place in Nagpur. It is not. Now we have yes, spit and fissure sealants. Its indication, contraindication, rationale. It is very detailed, studied in conservative dentistry, in public health dentistry. So it is a very common question. It's very easy question. We need to write in under different subheadings. Like one is classification. We have many classification based on chemical structure, generation, filler content, color, curing, and chemical structure, MMA, Tech DMA, BIS GMA. So all those things. Then first generation, second generation, third, fourth. Third is visible light, fourth is fluoride, second is self-cure, first is ultraviolet, unfilled one, filled one, clear, tinted, colored, autopolymerizing or light cure polymerization. So indication, we know pit and fissure is a preventive method. It is done on a tooth which might where the caries might start, and it is likely to start mostly deep tooth with deep pits and fissures like molars and premolars. So we just remove the little bit of pits and fissure, and we apply the pit and fissure sealants. But mostly it is a non-invasive procedure. We just apply it on the pits and fissures. When we are making it invasive procedure, it is known as preventive resin restoration. What are the indications of pit and fissure sealant? That is newly erupted tooth, especially primary molars and permanent molars and bicuspid with complete recession of pericoronal operculum and open grooves and fissures where the food gets stuck and bacteria will act, it will create acid and caries might occur. So the rationale is simple. We are sealing pit and fissures, so food won't get stuck, bacteria won't come, acid won't get produced, and there won't be any caries. So contraindication, if there is any caries, we can't do because it is completely a preventive procedure. We are not making any cavity. We are just applying after the basic cleaning, and we are applying it using a conditioner, or we might use a etchant, but we are not making any removal of tooth structure. So if any type of caries, we should go for restoration. Pit and fissure sealant is not a restoration. So technique is first isolation, then preparation of tooth. That it can be used aluminum oxide. It can be treated with sherry of fumes and water. Then we will go for acid etching, then rinsing, then bonding agent, then application of sealant, curing and revaluation, and recall and revaluation. Next question is diet counseling and its role in the prevention of dental caries. So diet is one of the key factor of causing dental caries. That is, it is a multifactorial disease. Diet is one factor, then time is another factor, host factors is there, bacteria is there. But if we are removing one factor out of these four factors, we can prevent dental caries. Diet counseling is very much vital because diet can be a host factor, it can be a agent factor because it is coming from outside. So it is like a factor which is there in the host and agent. So we can do a direct counseling where the role of patient is passive and the decisions are made by the counselor, and non-directive counseling where the counselor role is merely to aid the patient in clarifying and understanding situation and to provide guidance so that the patient can make his or her own final decision so as to type of action that should be taken. So this non-directive counseling approach is recommended for diet counseling. So a prerequisite for successful nutrition counseling is a realistic and honest statement that the patient, not the counselor, bears a responsibility for making changes in food selection and eating habit. So first we need to gather information, then evaluate, then develop a plan, then seek active participation of patient's family, then follow up. So follow up is very much vital because the patient has a tendency to change the habit, but there will be relapse. So we need to have a frequent visit to make it a habit. So what are the topical fluoride agents? We already discussed sodium fluoride, stannous fluoride, APF, amine fluoride. All are topically applied agents. APF we already discussed. Now we have very important question, that is caries vaccine. We know dental caries remains one of the most widespread disease, but it cannot be prevented by a vaccine because it is a multifactorial disease. A single factor disease can be prevented by vaccine, just like polio, mumps, measles, or those single microorganism which causes it can be prevented. But since caries is a multifactorial disease, there are so many factors are involved, we cannot prevent everything by a single vaccine because there are host factors, there are agent factors, many factors are. We can only prevent the microorganisms or its growth, its population multiplication. So that way we can one of the factor can be prevented, but not dental caries, because there is diet is there, host factors are there. It cannot be prevented or it cannot be modified by a vaccine. Vaccine is always applicable to a disease where it is caused by a single organism. So caries vaccine, there should be a strong association is existing between colonization and mutant streptococci, and we are focusing, as I said, only on streptococci. Okay, so we are thinking of its protein. So somewhere we need to interrupt the process of this formation, dental pellicle formation, or by inferring proteins or its adhesion. So somewhere we are going to interrupt this attachment or its multiplication, that is bacteria I'm talking about, streptococcus, and its pathogenicity of streptococci occurs through the adhesion of this to hydroxyapatite. So that way we are trying to prevent the adhesion. So these glucose polymers provide scaffolding for the aggregation of mutants and other oral streptococci through interaction with bacterial cell associated glucan binding proteins. So these are the targets, vaccine targets, such as adenosine antigen 1 and 2, glucosyltransferase transferase, glucan binding proteins. All these can be kept as a target. So active immunization can be done through oral, intranasal, tonsillar, using rectal minor salivary glands. So all these routes can be used. Now we have fluoride dentifrice. Before that, we need to understand what is dentifrice, its composition. Sodium fluoride and stannous fluoride are using as a fluoride delivery agent. Okay, so toothpaste has many components. It has abrasive, it has humectant, it has a binder, and one of the component is fluoride delivery agent. So that part we are modifying. Some of the toothpaste doesn't have a fluoride delivering agent. So here we are using amine fluoride dentifrices or monofluorophosphate. So this becomes a fluoride delivery agent. So these are the key component in the toothpaste which delivers fluoride. Okay, so most of the herbal toothpaste doesn't have fluorides. So age recommendation for fluoride dentifrices: below 4 years not recommended, 4 to 6 once daily, 6 to 10 twice daily, and above 10 thrice daily with fluoride paste. So fluoride varnish, developed by Schmidt in Europe, 1964. Increasing time of contact is there because it is almost like sticky. So after prophylaxis, we can apply varnish. Application is done first on the lower arch, then upper, using a small brush, and just like other topical fluoride, we are leaving it for 4 minutes. So Durafate and Fluor Protector is there. These are the two commonly available fluoride varnishes. And microfilled resins can be used as a composite for a small cavities. It can be used. Preventive resin restoration, there are 3 types: type A, type B, type C. It is restoration. It is completely different from pit and fissure sealant, because pit and fissure is a preventive technique. This preventive resin restoration, the name itself is a little confusing, because we are saying preventive and we are making a restoration. Restoration means something we are going to restore, something restore which is already lost. So tooth material is lost, so we are restoring it. So we have type A, type B, type C based on the depth of cavity. So type A is very minimal, type B is a little more deeper, type C is a deeper one, where we are filling resin, not like amalgam. So little conservative approach, cavity we can make, unlike amalgam, which requires a lot of tooth destruction. Whereas pit and fissure sealant is just a sealant material applied on the normal tooth without any cavity cutting. Okay. So cool water fluoridation we already discussed in detail, why we are applying 4 to 5 ppm, and instead of 1 ppm, and what are the results. So type of fissures, we know what are the type of fissures: V, U, I, IK, inverted Y, all are important and patent fissure sealants. So that was a part 4. We were finishing it so fast because you guys already studied it in part 1, and you are going to study it in your other subjects. So fluoride is a very important topic because you get many questions, but it's not very tough chapter because you know most of the concepts, because we studied in detail about its history, systemic, topical, various topical methods, various products, about defluoridation and fluoride toxicity. So next we have pediatric orthodontics, which will be dealt in next session. So we haven't discussed about toxicity. That slide is missing here. So anyway, toxicity, we have acute toxicity and chronic toxicity. Chronic toxicity is nothing but fluorosis. It can be a dental fluorosis and skeletal fluorosis. That is getting accumulated, fluoride getting accumulated over a very longer period. Slowly we are getting fluoride, and if it is during the mineralization state of hard tissues, there will be fluorosis. It can be as a dental or skeletal. Dental happens between 1 to 3 ppm, more than 3 ppm. Skeletal also can happen. Whereas acute means it is a sudden heavy dose of fluoride is getting into our systemic circulation. It can be by accidental, or a person try to by in an act of suicide, and certainly lethal dose is 32 to 64. That is around 5 gram. If one person consumes, he might die. So we can manage it by providing some milk or other material, because it is a binder, or we can induce vomiting, or other measures we can take, taking patient to hospital. So that was about the toxicity. So next I'll be taking the part 5, where the orthodontic parts are coming. So even though I did not concentrate much on the topic fluorides, this is very important. Many questions will be asked from this session. Essays will be there, short essays will be there, and short notes. Many questions are there. You need to refer the Soben Beta textbook, or even Nigilmava is fine. So I'll come up with the part 5 of pediatric question paper discussion. Thank you.